Did you ever have like a bad landing in those 17? Like, did you ever like land either in the water or like up in, you know, when you see those movies and people like stuck up in trees and stuff? Like, have you ever had a bad landing or not really?
I never had a bad landing because as part of our training, we would be jumping off roofs. So, we did 2 or 3 days full on training, and they'd have us on roofs and we'd learn how to roll because you couldn't just stop when you landed. You had to learn to hit and roll. But I did have one jump where we had, I think it was 16 lines coming down. One of the lines went over the chute. So instead of having a full canopy where you've got, which is grabbing the air, you've got 2 smaller canopies because the line's over. And so obviously I'm coming down a lot quicker than I should be. And I'm instead of pulling the reserve, I'm shaking the harness to try and get this line off, getting closer and closer to the ground. And finally, just as the line's starting to come off, I pull the reserve and they both open up. But I landed fine. It was that was an interesting time. I nearly got put on a charge because the sergeant major said to me when I landed, he said, you should have pulled the reserve earlier. And I'm thinking, well, you don't have time to think about it.
Does the thought ever go through your mind though when you pull in the reserve, like, well, I hope this one works? Because after the reserve, right, you've got nothing else.
No, you don't get time to think like that. It's more the training. It's a little bit like in when you're in a contact situation in the military, your training kicks in, and so you don't get time to think about it. No, yeah, you know where you're going. You don't have to worry about direction. You just gotta make sure you get your shoes open.